Aloha, beautiful souls, and welcome to another transformational reading here with Rian. And in today's reading, we're going to be exploring the topic, what you don't see about yourself. And with this, we are also going to kind of take a look at some things that other people see in you that you don't see in yourself. You know, I feel like that's a very common thing where other people can recognize your talents, your abilities, your sort of blessings, and your what is the word that I'm looking for? Like the things that make you so wonderful, right? Those positive, lovable characteristics that other people can see so clearly that we don't always see ourselves. Okay, so that's what this reading is all about. What you don't see about yourself, with like parentheses, what other people do. Okay, so let's take a deep breath in to ground our energies and prepare ourselves for the group reading. So deep breath in. And exhale out. Excellent. And this card was ready to come out for a collective reading. It comes from Apophyllite. Stay positive. There we go. I feel like this is really telling us to not give so much strength and power and attention to like that negative voice that exists within our mind that tells us that we're not good enough, that we're not funny enough, we're not pretty or handsome enough, we're not capable enough, we're not smart enough, we're not funny enough, whatever it may be, okay? To just embrace all that we truly are, not whatever we think we're not, okay? Hopefully that makes sense. So let's get started with the group readings. We're gonna begin with group number 1. So hello there, group number 1, and welcome to your reading today to find out what you don't see about yourself, parentheses, but what other people do. Okay, so let's reveal your first cards to get us rolling here. We have the Gem. I love that. And we also have Moon Knight. It's never too late for a second chance. And Draft, Foresight. You are able to see what is in store for the future. Oh, wow, that's really cool. So definitely for some of you, you do have some like psychic or intuitive abilities that maybe you're not embracing. Maybe you're like a little bit scared or nervous with using it. I mean, I totally get it. I mean, when I was younger, I thought it was so cool if people had like powers, right? Like superheroes and things like that, just like, Moon Knight. But then I watched some TV shows and there's like another perspective where sometimes knowing what's going to happen isn't actually always a blessing, especially if you feel like it's something that you have no control over or that you can't change, right? So I can see how some people might be a little bit afraid of it. And also, like, it's making me think of True Blood and the Sookie Stackhouse series. Have you, any of you seen that show? It was like on HBO, like, few years ago. And let me know in the comments down below if you have seen that show and who was your favorite character on the show. But the True Blood series, the main character, Sookie Stackhouse, was a telepath, meaning she could read each other people's minds and hear their thoughts. And sometimes she didn't like what she was hearing from other people's thoughts because some people weren't always thinking very nice things about her, And so I feel like that's why maybe gifts at times can feel like both a blessing and a curse. And what a lot of people kind of see for you, though, is that it's kind of cool, actually, that you're able to see how things will go down the line in the future. And maybe some of you don't even feel like it's like a psychic ability. It's more like common sense to you. That might be the perspective you have on it, right? That it's just like, oh, this is just common sense. I don't understand why no one else can see this. But the thing is, that's your gift. You can see things that other people can't, and you just don't think of it as a gift because you're just so used to it. That's just how you are, right? It's just like other people who, I don't know, they're talented in sports. Like some people, they don't think it's a gift. It's just something that they're able to do, just like walking and breathing comes so naturally to everyone, or most people, I should say. Like your gifts come so naturally to you that you don't even see it as a gift, but other people do. And I'm getting here with this gem that a lot of people actually like to come to you for advice. So that's what this energy between the draft and the gem, the double G's, is saying to me is that, it's like that saying, oh, you're such a gem, meaning like you're so bright, you're so rare, you're so shiny, you're special, right? So a lot of people see you as someone very special, very unique. You're not like the kind of average human being, is what I'm hearing. And with the gem, like I'm seeing this gem kind of being moved around, right? And capturing the light and reflecting the light at different angles and even multicolor, just like this, like all these different colors here. And what I'm seeing is that this is something that is very attractive and magnetic to a lot of people, that there's something about you that is not even about your looks. That's what I'm feeling here, because like Moon Knight has this cloak and this mask. And so what I'm seeing is like it's not even about your looks, it's just something about your energy that's very magnetic to people, and they don't really know why they're drawn to you until perhaps they are able to get a sample, if you will, of your wisdom and your knowledge and your ability to actually provide pretty sound advice, or even just like an opinion or insight or thoughts on something that they are, wrestling with, right? I feel like you're able to tease all that out and see the truth, the simple truth for what it is. And you have this knack for like kind of predicting things with a shocking amount of accuracy, that, if you do A, then this is what's going to happen at B. You know what I'm saying? Like, I feel like you really have a knack for that. I'm also hearing the word meteorologist for some reason. It's like weather forecaster, but who's really, really accurate about the weather predictions. Like more so than the average meteorologist. So that's kind of like you, like you're able to predict future events with this combination of intuition. But I also feel for some of you, it's just like this profound sense of logic, of understanding like trends and the way things are kind of moving. Like, I wouldn't be surprised if you can, like in your career or work, like you can just kind of get a sense of when things are going to get busy, when things are going to, like challenges that are going to arise, or being able to recognize an opportunity that you can jump on and really maximize the benefits out of, Now, what's also really interesting here is this message with Moon Knight. Oh my God, something else just came through. So the moon is a very intuitive body as well, as far as astrology goes. The moon like is all about intuition and dreams and emotions. And so again, going back, there's that kind of instinctual nature of yours that can really guide you through a lot of life's challenges, and perhaps even other people's challenges, right? Again, going back to the advice thing. So back to what it says on the bottom though, before like universe was like, channel this message. It's never too late for a second chance. So what I'm getting here too, that's very, very interesting, is you can be very hard on yourself. I wouldn't be surprised if maybe you are a Virgo or have like some Virgo placements in your chart, because Virgos are known to be very critical of themselves. Now, it doesn't matter if you're a Virgo or not. This is just kind of your nature. But if you are a Virgo, just consider that an extra confirmation that you're at the right reading. So with this second chance, I feel like there's almost this element of perfectionism about you, and that you really want to do your best always, and you are really want to like consistently succeed at whatever you do, whatever you put your mind towards. And unfortunately, like, when it comes to successes in life, we're not always going to have a 100% success rate. You know what I'm saying? You win some, you lose some. And the unfortunate thing is that when you lose something, it can like hit you really hard, and it can feel like quite a blow to the ego. And you can really put yourself down, like maybe if not out loud, like in your mind. Like there's a lot of self-talk that can maybe go towards the negative in you. I'm kind of learning about human design now. It's like my latest obsession. Let me know if you're into human design, and let me know what type you are out of the 5 types. I'm a generator. But there's an energy center that's really associated with our sense of self-worth, our sense of value, like kind of our confidence. and it can be opened or closed. And what I'm getting is that for many of you, that center is probably open for a lot of you, meaning you get a sense of your self-worth from other people, like other people help you understand your self-worth. So when you're around people that think really highly of you, you feel really good about yourself, right? Makes sense? But then once you step away from them and you're like maybe alone, it's like those are when those negative self-talk kind of comes in. And you forget how wonderful you are because there's not people around you to remind you or give that energy and that love that reinforces this self-worth. Okay, so it can be really, really hard for you to be by yourself because you start to lose sight of how wonderful you are. All right, so that's something that a lot of people notice, that you know, maybe you come to them and you're feeling a little down in the dumps and really feeling hard on yourself. But once you spend time with them, your mood shifts and it changes and you feel good. After talking with them, you feel good about yourself, about maybe some of the choices you've made that you were not sure of if it was the right one. But then, you know, when you go home, when you're like hanging out, getting ready for bed or whatever, those thoughts come back in and you send a text to the person like, maybe I didn't do the right thing. And that other person you're texting is like, what are they talking about now? We just talked about this. Like everything is gonna be fine. Like, why are they worrying so much, you know? So I think a lot of people really see that about you. And maybe you weren't aware of that up until now, all right? So let's get some other ideas here on what you don't see about yourself, but what other people do. Okay, I feel like Spirit was like, just take those. Okay, so we're gonna take all of these. We have King of Cups. Spirit is just super generous today. King of Cups, Temperance, Knight of Coins, Justice, and Seven of Swords. Why don't we just space these out a little bit evenly? And so I don't say this enough in the videos, but definitely if something catches your eye on these cards, trust your intuition, especially you, Group 1, because you have an innate ability already. So if any of these images stick out to you and provide a specific message to you, comment it down below so you don't forget it, or write it down to yourself so you can take a look at it again after the reading is done, okay? So trust your intuition if you're sensing some things as well. Now, what do we have here? Justice. Okay, so what I'm seeing here is that you are very hardworking, and a lot of people have come to find you to be someone who's very reliable, okay? Very consistent, like a consistent presence in their life, someone that they could actually count on. And perhaps, you know, you don't see yourself as like a great friend or a great son or daughter or mom or dad, again, because you're a little bit hypercritical, but a lot of people really do look at you as someone who has a lot of great virtues about them, that, you know, you always give your best is what I'm hearing. You are hardworking, and again, you try not to let other people down. So you're really there for somebody. And now what I'm hearing with this Justice card is the golden rule. How many of you know what the golden rule is? Or maybe you've heard it said before. It's do unto others as you would want them to do unto you. And I think that's part of that driving force of why you're so kind and giving and caring, and willing to help, especially when it comes to giving advice, because you do give good advice. And what I'm getting is that those are the things that people really love about you. Okay, that's why maybe you strive to be so perfect, because it's like, if you're a good person to other people, then other people will be good to you, right? Like that do unto others as you want them to do unto you. So if you're a perfect, kind, compassionate human being, or whatever perfectionism looks like to you, which BT dubs is just an illusion. Like perfection is not what we should be striving for, like ever. I've learned that after so many years. But that's part of the reason why you strive for perfectionism, is because you want to give people your best, because that's what you want in return. All right. And maybe there have been times where you've been disappointed, or what I'm sensing here is betrayed or taken advantage of, right? Because you can be like so trusting of some people. And also, I think in a way, you might even be giving people like a lot of second chances, is what I'm getting here. Yeah, that might be also what this second chance is. That's really interesting. It's like you're so hard on yourself, but for whatever reason, sometimes you tend to give people a little bit more slack than you give to yourself. And the people that are closest to you, they're not big fans of that because, again, they see you getting taken advantage of time and again. And they're like, oh my gosh, like, you already know what this person is like. Like, stop catering to them. Stop letting them back into your life. Stop letting them do that to you. You need to say something, stand up for yourself. And in the moment when they're giving you this pep talk, you're like, yeah, totally. Gotta stand up for myself. Yeah, I gotta tell them what's up. Tell them it's not okay no more. But then when you're like by yourself, you're kind of, oh, maybe I was really too mean on that person. Maybe I was too harsh. Like maybe it wasn't really their fault that this is what happened. Like some things were out of their control, out of my control. So I really shouldn't put the blame on them. Like you come up with these excuses to kind of forgive people repeatedly, even if it's not healthy or good for you anymore, and they're kind of just like leeches, you know? And here, what I'm seeing with this temperance is that some people really look at you and they feel like maybe you're not really balanced out here. That you are more giving than you are into receiving and taking care of yourself. Okay. Now, I want to do this little exercise real quick for you, loves. And I want you to like envision some sort of scale in your mind. And the scale goes from 0 to 10. Okay. And I'm going to ask you a question and you're going to rate yourself on this scale from 0 to 10. And just trust your instinct. Okay. Whatever number comes to your mind first between 0 and 10, just roll with it. Okay. So the first question is, how good are you at giving? And rate yourself from 0 to 10. If it helps, you can just write that number in the comments, but don't hit reply just yet or send. Just hold on for a second. So now that you have that number, close your eyes again and visualize that scale 0 to 10. I'm going to ask you the second and final question, and I want you to just rate yourself, trust your instinct. How good are you at receiving? Sometimes there's some very interesting results when you compare the two numbers now. So once you have your number, now add that to the comment and share it with the rest of us. I'd love to see what you got. And what I'm venturing to guess here is that many of you, your number for giving was probably higher than the number for receiving. And so that's what this temperance card is about like other people really feel like you need to balance it out. That just as much as you give people, you need to be able to receive that as well from others. And a lot of people really want to help you and give things to you, do things for you, do favors for you, but perhaps you end up rejecting a lot of them because you don't want to be a burden, you don't want to trouble people, you don't want to put people out or whatever. But other people are really trying to help you and they want to do things for you, but you're not always letting them, you know? So just keep that in mind. You also have the King of Cups here. So I'm getting the sense too that you feel very deeply. We were just talking about the Moon card and with the emotions. And perhaps for some of you, part of the reason why you can forgive people so much and help people so much is that you are like truly a compassionate being. It's like I get the sense that you might even be one of the people that like gets moved by commercials about like the Humane Society and helping a village in need in a third world country. Like you're really moved by these stories of people who are struggling to get a lot of the basic needs met, or animals who are displaced and without a home, right? And so a lot of people really see that about yourself. About you, excuse me, about yourself. What am I talking about? A lot of people see that about you, and maybe like you do notice that you do have like this sort of like bleeding heart, if you will, and you're compassionate, but it seems like maybe you don't know to the extent of how compassionate you are and how giving and how loving you are. And at times, again, it might be to your detriment. It might be like maybe you have this sense of responsibility that if a problem presents itself to you, you are the one that's responsible to solve it. But that's not always the case. Sometimes it's other people's responsibility to help with that problem, whatever it may be, okay? And you should only help if you truly have the bandwidth and the capacity to do so. Wow, this was really deep and insightful. I hope you really enjoyed this reading as much as I enjoyed sharing it with you. If you do want to go a little bit deeper and have a personalized reading, of course you can have one. Just take a look at the description box down below to see how you can request a personalized reading from me. But other than that, thank you so much for watching, loves, and thank you for all the ways in which you show your love and support for this channel. I truly appreciate it. Never forget, it's not too late for your happily ever after. See you next time. Hey there, group two. I said holler. Welcome to your reading to find out what you don't see about yourself, in parentheses, but what others do. So let's see what information we have in your reading today. The first card out for you is Anima Mundi. Ooh, very, very schmancy. Very big concepts there with that. We'll talk about that in a moment. This makes sense. Thanos. All that I seek is in my grasp. This makes sense to go together with the Anima Mundi card. And we also have Badger, perseverance, dig in and see it through to completion. So what is so special about you that maybe you don't, it's not, what's interesting is it's not that you don't necessarily see this, it's just you never thought of it this way before. Okay, so what you don't see about yourself, but what other people do, is you have this very complete view on life. It's like you can actually see all the different aspects of a situation before you make a decision. And the thing is that the decisions that you make are more often based on sort of like logic and rational thoughts versus emotional ones, okay? So I'm just gonna talk about Thanos a little bit, and then it'll kind of link to this Anima Mundi card. So for those of you that are not familiar with the Marvel Universe and the Marvel Cinematic Universe, Thanos is a Titan. He is part of a race of aliens, if you will, called Titans. And he came from a civilization where he saw that a lot of the resources available to them were going to dwindle out because the population was multiplying a lot faster than the resources could be kept up to support the population, okay? And so he proposed that they do this impartial system of weeding out people and thinning down the population, okay? So it wasn't based on like how much money you had, what your status was, what your job was, rich, poor, young, old, whatever. It was just going to be like some kind of a lottery, all right? Now, it seems very like cold and uncaring, for sure, but like the problem that his people were facing were like, do we just let everybody live and then we all starve? Because we're running out of enough food to feed this growing population. We're running out of shelter, right? And when those types of things happen, it's very easy to maybe see how violence could erupt, right? Like you've maybe seen in movies or things where it's like people are starving and then there's like a piece of bread gets thrown into the crowd and then everyone like lunges for it, because when you're starving, you lose some of your common sense, right? Some people lose their humanity and it's like they're just functioning on instinct now. Like, I have to eat, I have to feed myself no matter what. And when people are struggling in that way, they might be surprised at what lengths they'll go to survive. You know what I'm saying? So not that the situations that you ever find yourself in are that extreme, but what I'm really saying is that you have this knack and this ability for seeing the bigger picture and making very wise and fair judgments or decisions, because you can kind of separate yourself a little bit from your emotions, okay? It's kind of like something that I really admire about some people that I see on, like, characters that I see on TVs or movies. It's where they do what's always right despite whatever emotional attachments may be present. You know what I'm saying? And it's okay if you don't agree with this, or if you do agree with it. Like, that's totally fine, and you're definitely entitled to your opinion. But I get the sense here that you tend to be the person to do what's right or what's needed, okay, in the long run, versus whatever feelings that you have about it. So, in some ways, this might make you look a bit selfish to others, and in other ways, and other times, it may make you look very, like, kind and caring, right? So, for example, like, if someone forgot to bring their lunch one day and you have lunch, like, if there isn't enough food, like, you'll eat your food, you won't share it with somebody, right? If there's not enough food, if you're starving yourself, you will make sure that you eat your food. Like, maybe you'll give somebody, like, money to get something out of the vending machine or whatever, right? Or maybe you'll offer to loan somebody some money, right? So that they can get lunch. But you're starving, you're hungry, and you're going to eat because you know you need to eat to do your job, and other people depend on you being able to do your job. And it's not your responsibility to make sure everybody's fed. Like, that kind of thing, right? And then at other times, like, say that someone forgot their lunch again and you have lunch, but you're not that hungry. And so at that moment, you're able to share some of your food and offer it to them because you're not that hungry, right? And at that moment, other people will say, oh, you're really nice, you're really kind, even though they might say that in the other situation if you decide to give them money, right? So I feel like with you, you do what's ever needed for the situation, but it comes from your perspective, okay? Just like with Thanos, like, this was Thanos' idea, like, this is what we need to do, so I'm gonna make it happen, you know? And that's this perseverance. So kind of, I said I was gonna bring it back to this Anima Mundi. So what the Anima Mundi card is about understanding the interconnectedness of everything in life, everything in existence, right? That we live in a dualistic reality. Light, dark, good, bad, sad, happy, high, low, right? Sunshine, cloudiness. Like, we just live in that. And the thing about you is you see that everything has a place. Everything has a purpose. And that nature in and of itself is like, nature doesn't necessarily play favorites, right? That everybody will eventually die. You know, that's just the order of life. That's just how this reality works. Like, you understand that. And being able to understand that, you can detach yourself a little bit from certain situations that other people might have a hard time with. Just like with Thanos, like, the idea of getting rid of half of the universe's population is very cringy to some people, but for others, it just makes sense, right? As something that has to be done. Now, I'm not advocating for one way of thinking or another, so please don't misunderstand that. I'm just saying that there is this element of you that's very logical, very rational, and that can be a bit calculating, okay? And what's interesting is some people respect that about you, and that's maybe why they defer making decisions to you, because that they know you'll make the good decision in the long run. They know you'll make a good decision based on the facts and what's true, and you won't make a decision based on favoritism. You're going to do what is right no matter what. You know what I'm saying? It's kind of like if you were a manager and, like, two employees are having a disagreement, and you're friends with one of the employees, right? You won't let that friendship affect your judgment. That if your friend did something wrong, them being your friend isn't gonna save them from the consequences, right? And so, and of course, hopefully your friend didn't do anything wrong, and you don't have to dispense justice or judgment on them, right? As the manager. But I feel like that's what I personally feel. Now I'll let my 2 cents come in, that that's a great trait to have, to do what's right and to do what's fair, all right? And not do like favoritism or nepotism, that kind of thing. And so I don't know if anyone's ever put it to you in that way before, but that's kind of what I'm seeing with these cards. And that you will do whatever it takes to get things done. And it could be one of those ideas where the ends justify the means, all right? Where you have to do what's best for the greater good, no matter what. Wow, I'm getting the sense here that you are actually a great leader, okay? Because I feel for myself that leaders can't really play favoritism. I mean, my gosh, sometimes that's how we get into the messes that we find ourselves in, is that we do certain things out of a sense of connection, of like, oh, I've known this person the longest, when it's not always the best decision as a whole. You know, it's just kind of like how sometimes they say like, you shouldn't mix business with pleasure. Like not all friendships are meant to be working partnerships, because you can't always work with your friends. You can't always work with your family. Like they're gonna use those relationships to kind of get things a little bit confusing, right? And create some problems and some conflict, I feel. I've heard that so many times before. Not saying that it can't work, but I'm just saying like it's kind of risky, you know, to hire your friends or family members to be a part of some of the work you do. It doesn't work for everybody, that's for sure. But I think with you, like, you know, that's really not the thing to do. Okay. I also want to say too, with this Anima Mundi card, you are able to see things that a lot of other people can't. Again, with all these different perspectives, like you can see where everybody's coming from. You can see a lot of different possibilities and pathways that might be invisible to other people and they might not recognize. And what I'm hearing is sometimes this causes you a little bit of frustration because people don't have as large an understanding of all the variables, all the factors coming into play that you do. And so maybe they don't agree or get what you're trying to explain to them or what you're trying to do. Okay, so 5 of Wands, Knight of Wands, 3, well, wow, you have a lot of Wands. Oh my gosh, 3 of Wands, Ace of Wands, and Ace of Cups. So literally all Wands except for one, just one cup. So again, I'm seeing here, this is that passion, this power that comes out of you. What I'm getting here is a lot of people see you as, again, very fair, even if at times you don't always come off as compassionate. Okay? Again, these are all just people's opinions. I feel like, you know, reality isn't always so black and white. But with a predominance of Wands cards here, what a lot of people really see in you is this passion, this power, this authority, okay? And to a degree, some sort of like inner knowing. Swords would be more of like information, knowledge, like kind of accessible to everybody, right? But with the Wands, this is sort of like divine knowing, because Wands energy is also very spiritual energy, okay? So let's see what we have here. 5, Knight, 3, and Ace. So with this 3 of Wands and this Badger coming together, you know what you want and you go after it. I don't get the sense here that you're one of those people that just like, I don't know, what am I to do? Like maybe you have moments like that in your life, but in general, you know your life trajectory. You know where you want to go. You know what your goal is, and you probably know several ways to get there. It's just a matter of which one is the most maybe easiest or quickest, or what is going to help you in the long run, right? To build on these successes, to build on these goals. So I can see here that you are a very goal-oriented type of individual on big and small, right? Like maybe you have goals for the day, and then you have goals for where you want to be in the next 3 months, 6 months, 1 year, 5 years, like that kind of thing. A lot of your life is through creating goals and working, moving towards them. What I'm getting here too is that you're not always the easiest person to get along with. Again, because you see so much that other people don't see. I'm seeing that inevitably you're gonna have people that are gonna clash with you, and people who have certain opinions that you simply don't agree with, or that you simply feel are like detrimental or can cause a lot of damage or harm. You know what I'm saying? And I'm guessing you understand what I'm talking about, having been in some sort of leadership position. I know that I have, and it's tough to be in a leadership position. You have to have a very strong will, and I feel like that comes through with the Knight of Wands. You know, when it's time to make decisions for a leader, what so many of us have to understand, and maybe we get it in theory, but we don't know how to apply it, is like you can't please everyone, right? You can't please everyone. And the thing is, as a leader, your job isn't to please everyone. Despite whatever social media and like public opinion thinks, your job is not to please everyone. Your job is to do what's best for the majority of people so that the majority of people can succeed, right? And I feel like you understand that on some level, and you're okay with people disagreeing with you simply because it's like, if you don't like what I'm serving, you don't gotta eat. I feel like that's kind of your attitude, and like respect to you, okay? And the thing is here, you're not one to back down from a challenge. Like Thanos. Thanos had this big vision, this big goal to get all these infinity stones and snap his finger and do what he needed to do. He wasn't letting nobody stand in his way. He was not intimidated. He was not scared. He kept, well, you know what? Let me take that back. Perhaps at some point he felt those things, but he never let it stop him. Okay? Again, your emotions don't necessarily rule you. Okay? You're driven by a greater purpose. Oh, that sounds beautiful. Oh, I'm gonna say that again. You are driven by a greater purpose that kind of goes beyond these petty thoughts of some people carry with them. Ooh, that sounded a bit judgy. Didn't mean to be judgy about that. But you know, while some people might be wondering what outfit they're gonna wear today, like that's not one of your concerns. You know, you have other things on your mind here that have more further reaching effects. I'm also seeing here too that with the Ace of Wands, you are meant to bring amazing change to the world. Okay, like you are an influencer for sure, no matter what that means. Even like we use that word for social media, but I feel like politicians are also influencers. Community leaders are influencers. People who are advocating for change. And I feel like that's what you are. You don't really know this about yourself, but you're meant to make a very big impact on the world. You're meant to change or be part of that change for how humanity lives their life going forward. Whoa. Again, very powerful energy coming from you, group 2. And then here we have the Ace of Cups. So what I'm sensing here is, you know how we were talking about you're not a very highly emotional being? I'm sensing something is going to come and challenge that part of you. And I want to pull these clarifiers out. So we have the Hermit and the Two of Coins. So I'm getting the sense that you, maybe to function this way, you do put a little bit of distance between yourself and other people. But what I'm getting here is the next stage of evolution for you is to start to open up and be able to balance. So people's emotions, what I'm hearing, people's emotions are very valid, right? People's emotions are a significant part of the equation. They might not necessarily give you the answer, but they might help guide you on how you manage certain situations, okay? So it's kind of like understanding that even though you have to fire somebody, you don't have to be rude about it. You don't have to be uncaring. You don't have to be cold about it, right? You know that when people get fired, it's not a pleasant experience for them, okay? And you need to allow a little bit of empathy to come through in that situation, okay? You can't just kind of like lock your caring feeling side away and to engage with the world and fulfill your role. You can still be connected with your emotions. You can still feel your emotions. And in the right settings, you should definitely express your emotions, right? And there's something about understanding how other people feel around you that will help you become a more effective leader. That will be helpful for you to understand how to communicate things more effectively, okay? Instead of maybe being a bit robotic and unfeeling. Wow, very good. Wow, I'm like speaking to this like very determined leader energy here. So I hope you found this a bit, oh my God, excuse me. I hope you found this insightful, my loves. And let me know if it resonated with you down in the comments below. Give me a little heart if it did. Simple as that. And if you need a little bit more personalized information, then definitely take a look at the description box down below to see how you can request a personalized reading from moi. But otherwise, thank you so much for support. Thank you for watching this video to the end and liking and sharing, commenting down below. I truly appreciate it. And never forget that it's not too late for your happily ever after. Hey there, group 3, and welcome to your reading to find out what you don't see about yourself, parentheses, but what other people do. So the readings have been very, very insightful. So I'm really looking forward to see what we have for you, group 3. We have the Nectar card to open up our reading, which is beautiful. I'm already starting to get some vibes about what your reading will be about and what it will include. Miss Marvel, I am part of something bigger. Ooh, I love that. This is the first time she's shown up since I've been using this deck for my channel. So welcome, Miss Marvel, to Transform with Ryan. And Turtle Retreat. Stop trying to make something happen. So this is very interesting. Okay, so let's start with what I was feeling with the Nectar card, and then we'll kind of build on that, all right? So with the Nectar card, what I'm getting is that you are a very sweet person, okay? And that a lot of people are attracted to this sweetness about you. Whether you see it or not, they are drawn to it. It's kind of like honey to the bees, right? Like people are just really drawn to this sweet, soft kind of energy. I'm also sensing too that you're a very nourishing person to be around. Like people really feel like they got something by being around you. Now, that might sound a little bit weird, but it's almost like when people are around you, they leave feeling like they had a good time, or they leave feeling like they were seen, like they were heard. They leave feeling like someone out there respects them and understands them, right? And so you have this effect on people where there's this level of sweet fulfillment, sweet victory, and sweetness whenever they, part ways with you. And I'm hearing that a lot of people tend to say really nice things about you, like behind your back, like you're not aware of. Like people compliment you even when you're not around. Okay, and they have nice things to say about you. I mean, I wouldn't be surprised, with like job referrals and things like that and references, that whoever you put down just practically gushes about you and says what a wonderful worker you are, what a wonderful just human being in general you are. Okay. And I've said this to the other groups as well. It's like these are things that, like, maybe you notice or you've thought about, but maybe there's some part of you that's resistant to accepting that this is who you are for whatever reason. But again, whether you feel like you deserve it or not, people do sing your praises. Now, with the Miss Marvel card here, I'm part of something bigger. I'm getting the sense that people take notice of when you're around, when you're not. Like, maybe you're not the most popular person, classically speaking. Maybe you're not the most loudest or outspoken person in a group. But people still notice whether or not you're there. Okay, it's because there's this energy about you that almost feels like some sort of like completeness, right? Oh, maybe that's what I was tuning into with this fulfillment. And now that I'm looking at this black and white, it's like this things are coming together. Like with the yin yang symbol, there's that black teardrop shape with the little white circle, and then there's the white teardrop shape with the little black circle, that we are complete, that we have all elements within us. And so that's what you really bring to the table, is your presence creates this energy of like completeness, fulfillness. Fulfillness. Oh my God, that's not even a word, I don't think. Fulfillment. There we go. And that whatever people feel like they were missing, you fill in that gap. And the thing is, it's like, it's not even as like logical as like, okay, when we're forming like a party in an RPG group, like we need a warrior, we need a tank, we need a ranged weapon specialist, we need a healer, and then we need some kind of mage. Do you know what I'm saying? It's not even like that basic. It's just like, we're going out for dinner and these are the people we want to invite, and you're always included. Whether or not you're close with those people or you're like besties with them, it doesn't even matter. Like, people just love having you there. And I'm also wondering, to be honest with you all, I've been studying human design like mad crazy because I find it so fascinating, and it's been a great addition to my understanding of astrology, because I studied astrology for like a few years also. And with human design, there's a very, very rare type of person called a reflector. Okay? And I'm just going to share a little bit about a reflector, just in case you are one. You can find your human design type on Google. Just like type in free human design graph, and you'll be able to enter in your info and find it out. But reflectors are rare types of people. I think they're like less than 1% of the population is a reflector. And what reflectors do is, just by existing within a community, within a group of people, how they're feeling is a reflection of how the overall health is of the group. Okay, so if you're wondering about group dynamics, you're wondering about if things are okay or if things need to be improved on, one of the places you can look is at the reflector. If the reflector is doing great, then more than likely the group in general as a whole is going to be doing great. Okay, if the reflector is struggling, is like feeling tired and weak and sad or whatever, then chances are the whole overall energy of the group at large is dissatisfied, sad, unhappy, low energy. Okay, so I'm wondering if several of you that are watching are reflectors. Okay, I mean, I think that's a huge chance of that. So that was just a special FYI for some of you. Now here we have Turtle with Retreat. Stop trying to make something happen. So what I'm seeing here is you are a very hard worker. And maybe you were raised with that mentality too, that you got to just do it. You got to make it happen for yourself. But what's so interesting is that you don't. Okay? You are one of those people where things happen almost like magically for you without a lot of effort. And I'm getting the sense that some people find that a bit infuriating. Like they can be a bit jealous because they feel like, oh, I have to work so hard to get this done. And you just kind of coast on by in the world and you keep getting all these lucky breaks, right? And what I'm seeing here is just this is part of who you are. This is part of your nature, part of what went into creating you as this unique being in this world, is that you were just given extra amount of luck and that you don't always have to work so hard to make things happen. As a matter of fact, now that I'm kind of pulling all of these messages together, my nose is so itchy. I don't even know what is happening here, y'all. Is that oh my gosh, the thought just kind of slipped. Hold on. Let me try to reclaim it. Come back, thought. Come back, thought. Okay, yes. So that you should never feel pressure to kind of go with this consensus mentality where it's like, if you want something to happen, you have to go out and get it. What I'm getting for many of you is that all you have to do is set an intention, make a wish, set a goal out there in the universe, and then allow the directions, the signs, the step by steps to find their way to you. Okay? Like, let me just use a very simple example. You can think like, oh, I'm wondering what would be a great place to go for dinner tonight. Like, you don't have to go on Yelp or Google and find out like best places to eat in and then insert your city. Like, you don't even have to do that. Like, what I'm hearing is like, you just ask her, like, what is a great place to eat tonight? And you will get a text later on from someone saying, hey, I want to try this new restaurant out. Do you want to come with me tonight? And there you go. You didn't even have to do any work. Someone already came up to you with the proposal. Or you don't even have to type in the search engine. Like, you can open up your email or you can open up the Google or the Yelp app or whatever. And then there's already going to be a recommendation for you, like on the homepage, about where you can eat. Do you know what I'm saying? Or as strange as this sounds, like maybe you pick up a newspaper or something, and then there's this ad. Or you're thinking like, what should I have for dinner tonight? And you're in the store, and then you step outside of the store, and then you see this restaurant that you didn't notice before down the block. Or someone puts a little flyer or little advert on your windshield that's like, hey, come to this restaurant and 10% off your first entree or whatever. Do you know what I'm saying? Like, things like that just happen for you. It's like you have this idea of something that you want, and then you just receive the sign. Like, oh, here, go here, try this, do that. Right? And so you don't always have to work hard for information to come to you, ideas to come to you. They will just find their way to you. Like, they'll almost literally fall in your lap. And even when things seem tough or confusing, like if you just hang tight, a solution or help will come, you know? I mean, seeing this vision now, it's really kind of amusing, where it's like, if you ever found yourself lost in the woods, you don't have to go walking like in a northward direction or go walking to like where you think you parked the car or whatever. Like, if you just sit still for a little bit, someone will stumble across you and find you and be like, oh, hey, are you lost? And you're like, yeah, I am. Oh, well, I'm so glad we bumped into you. Like, here, let's take you back. Let's take you back to civilization, right? Like, I feel like that's you, which is pretty cool, honestly. It's like the universe is like totally always going out of its way to assist you. So let's see what else, like, maybe you don't see about yourself. So very, very lucky, right? We talked about that. Very fortunate. People really like to be around you. We also have 7 of Swords, 4 of Wands, 7 of Cups, 9 of Wands, and 4 of Coins. Oh my gosh, why is my nose so itchy, y'all? What is going on? Okay, so I just noticed that you have Four of Wands and Four of Coins. So four is a very stable number. So that is this sense of completeness that you bring around people. That people don't feel like they're missing anything when you're there. Like everything is exactly as it should be. They have everything they need in that moment at that time. They have that foundation, that security. Um, I'm also seeing here that you're a bit introverted, to be honest. And that you really shy away from crowds, even though a lot of people like to have you around and maybe you get invited to a lot of things, that you are definitely not like an extrovert, right? Or maybe you're that type of person that's an extroverted introvert kind of thing where like you can manage it in crowds, it's just not your preference. Because I'm seeing here with the Four of Coins as well and the Nine of Wands with the image where it's kind of like, people are, this person, like, what is that? It looks almost like some kind of plant, like a gourd, or maybe just like a blanket. I don't even know. Like this person is like clinging to this blanket and this young girl is clinging to their doll, right? It's just like you, when you're in groups, again, you're not that person that needs to be seen or heard the whole time. Like you're happy just observing and watching and like kind of being on the outskirts of the crowd and watching the show kind of thing. Because I'm getting the sense that you're not always comfortable with sharing your thoughts, sharing your feelings with just anybody. Like I don't see that you're like a small talk kind of person, you know? Um, I'm also seeing here that some people, um, they see you as a great partner. And the thing is, like, I don't feel like they necessarily want to date you, but they would call you like a catch. And maybe you've even had some experiences where they were trying to set you up with someone they know, right? Like, oh, I have a friend. Um, Maybe should go on a date. I think you guys would mesh really well together. Like maybe people are always trying to set you up because again, they think if you're single anyway, they think like you're a great catch, and they I don't know. I guess they want to lend a helping hand for you to find your way to marriage. Now, what's also interesting is the vibe I'm getting here from the Seven of Swords is that some people, because you're so quiet, some people don't trust you, right? Some people are kind of like, they don't know what to think of you, really. It's like they're intrigued by you, they want to know more about you, they feel good around you, but at the same time, their brain is kind of like something's up here, you know? Um, this doesn't make sense, right? And that's the Seven of Swords energy. The Swords is about the logical mind, the ego, right? And a lot of times I find that people are at war with what their instincts and their soul is trying to say versus what their mind is telling them, okay? So it's like a lot of people, they don't follow certain life directions and life path, even though their soul is saying like, do this, get that type of job, go to this place, meet this person, go on a date with this person, avoid this person. Like the soul might be saying those things, the heart might be saying those things, but the brain is like, no, you should go this way. This is what makes sense. This is what everyone else does to get what they want. Like you should do the same thing. And so a lot of people, like their brain tends to override their heart and soul. And so with people when they're around you, even though their heart and soul is like, you're cool, you're chill, like you're awesome, their brain is kind of like, but why? Like why do I let down my guard around this person? Why is this person so quiet? Why does this person like kind of stay on the outskirts of the group and not really want to interact? Why does this person keep everything to themselves, right? They get so like shifty. And sometimes I feel like it's just really a reflection of them. Like maybe they are untrustworthy and so they project onto other people as being tricky and untrustworthy also. But I don't think they know that about themselves. But I think you invoke that sort of energy or dynamic in other people. Now, what is going on with this Seven of Cups here? For some reason, Spirit is like, draw another card. Okay, we'll go with it. Actually, two cards. So the Seven of Cups, what do we have here? Six of Wands and the Emperor. Ooh, so what I'm really getting here is you're a key element in helping a lot of other people's dreams come true. Like one of your purposes and one of your functions here is to help other people achieve their goals. Like, your purpose in life is to guide, to teach, to help people dream again, to help people achieve their dreams. And part of it is because you understand sort of like the structure of things. And also, I think, again, it's kind of that luck that you have where your luck can extend to other people, and that people who you want to help, your luck kind of rubs off on them and things kind of work out for them really well as also. And I get the sense too, like in general, you're not a very selfish person anyway. And it's kind of like your win is my win. Like that's kind of the vibe that I'm getting. So I see like a lot of you would be really great, like teachers, instructors, managers, leaders, because you are such a great reflection of like how the group is doing overall, for one thing, for my reflectors out there. But you have this added twist that's like not really typical of reflectors as far as human design goes. But you have this ability to kind of move people in the right direction. Okay, it's just like by interacting with you, asking you questions, hearing your thoughts, it's like they get an epiphany on what they're supposed to be doing next. Do you know what I'm saying? Like after they talk things out with you, like they finally get it. But if they don't talk things out to you, like before they talk things out with you, it's kind of like they were so confused, they were so lost, and then they have a chance to sit down and like kind of word vomit, regurgitate everything that's running through their mind, and then suddenly things just make sense to them, right? You would also probably be a really great therapist, actually, is what I'm getting as well. Again, you're just helping people get to victory, get to their personal victory. And it's almost like you have this energy of like, you know, when one person wins, we all win. When the community is winning, everybody benefits. Like that's kind of your vibe. Oh, I love it. I love your energy. I'm so glad you found your way to this channel. It's so good to have your energy here. Please, if you enjoyed your reading, give me a little heart in the comments down below and hit that like button for me, if you will. Like I've really enjoyed doing this for you. Now, if you need a little bit more personalized information, I do personal readings. Just take a look at the description box down below to see how to request one. But other than that, thank you all so much for hanging with me and listening to your reading today. I really, truly hope you enjoyed it. And thank you for supporting my channel from the bottom of my heart. And never forget, it's not too late for your happily ever after. See you next time.